Afternoon, this is Charlotte Pierce. I'm a co-president of the Independent Publishers of New England and independent publisher myself in the Boston, Massachusetts area. I'm the producer of Indie Office Hours, and we'd like to welcome everybody to our show today. Please feel free to comment on the event page or on the YouTube page. All those comments will end up in our broadcast here and will be included in the recording that you can watch later or share if you should so desire. So that's me. I've got a few books. I'm building up my press, Pierce Press, and I would like to go around and introduce the rest of our panel. Laura Williams is my co-host on this show every week at 12. And Laura, what are you up to these days?
I've actually been pretty busy. I have been working really hard on my own show that's on Wednesdays, The Writing Biz. I have a community that's getting quite a bit of traction, and also I'm going to be releasing that as a podcast later in the week. So I've been pretty busy with that.
Mm-hmm. What is the, you said the community, is that on Google Plus, The Writing Biz community? Is that what you're, okay.
Yes, it is.
I love your website. That's pretty cool. I like that kind of black and white thing. You know.
I do too, because a lot of people don't use black and white, so it seems to stand out pretty well.
And you got some little punctuation of color here and there. And I'd like to go on next to Kitty Werner, who's our executive director, outgoing, but with deep regret, we will say goodbye to her today, I guess. But she has a thriving publishing company and a book launch today, right?
We do.
Excellent.
That we do. Distinction Press, we're doing the... Oh, I just got it. Ta-da! Confronting the Politics of Gridlock.
Yes. Oh, good. You've got an A for book promotion. You're supposed to have your book available at all times.
There it is. There it is. 2 copies. Hardcover and... and PR went out today. That's our brand new website.
So what is the Politics of Gridlock, or what is the book? What are the components of your book launch? Like, is there an event, signings?
Not yet. We are sending out PR. It's going to be a little hard to do a signing. He's over in Saratoga Springs, New York, and I'm in Waitsfield, Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be setting that up later, but at the moment what we're doing is sending out preliminary PR release to political reporters and interested parties around the country.
Oh, wonderful.
Sounds like you're well on your way with that one.
When did you acquire it? Pardon?
When did you acquire that book?
March or April.
See, that's what indies can do. You know, we can get the book out in record time. You know, try having a big publisher do that. You know.
Yeah.
Well, one of the books I did years ago was a book shepherd. A gal down the road in Duxbury, in a neighboring town, asked if I would do her novel, and I said, "Sure. You live nearby. Come on down and bring the files." She did. We had the book completely done in 3 hours.
I love it.
And she sold thousands of copies locally. That's all she wants it for. Is
better than a lot of people.
I know it's a really good book. It was an interesting book. And then she changes it all the time, so she'll change an ending or something and upload it to Lightning Source. I had established her own little company.
Yeah.
Like that. And then we did the one as a shepherd. I did the Toxic Staple for Anne that won the Book of the Year for IPNY.
Yeah, that's on the IPNY Facebook page. Has that picture of her with 4 of her awards. She's like saying Anne Sarkeesian.
It's got a little boring. I know.
I know.
How to get in.
But she was relentless about that promotion. That was pretty good. She was on focus, on message for about 2 years with that.
Oh, if not 10.
Yes.
But well, let's go to the problem.
Let's go to Larry and we'll get our introductions, and then we'll get into the publishing coach topic. Larry, what's up with you?
Hi, I'm a massage therapist in Seattle. I worked in publishing for a long time. That's how I know Charlotte. And the current project I'm working on is called Scared Sitless, the office fitness book. It's about sitting disease and what you can do about it. And I'm doing it all wrong according to all the conventional wisdom. I don't have a lot of Twitter followers. I'm not doing a lot of social media. I've just got my head down cranking out a manuscript. So and there's kind of at least two reasons for that. One is there's a whole lot going on in this field that you may have noticed if you just see headlines every week about. The latest one was, I think, that as little as 2 hours of sitting can undo the benefits of 20 minutes of exercise. There's just research findings like that come out every week. So it's like I think I'm kind of like a smoking cessation researcher in 50 years ago. That I think there's an opportunity here to get going. But also the other reason I'm writing a manuscript and not just out in the social world a lot is I read Nicholas Carr's book, The Shallows. And I don't know if you guys haven't read it, I strongly recommend it. And he talks in there about like how Google is making us stupid, basically, and how and talks about the value of long form, things like books as things to read. And I'm like, well, it probably works on the writing side too. So I feel like the book is going to be better because I've got my head down working on it. It's also just a bandwidth. It's also a bandwidth issue. I've got a busy massage practice, and it's also what I know. I've worked in publishing for a long time, and I'm like, well, I need to start with a manuscript, and I'm the author, so I better write the damn thing. So that's my story.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in a previous show on in the office hours that if your book isn't ready, don't publish it. It's just make sure it's good and proofread and copy edited and good design. Just wait until you've got it ready. It's not going to be. You're never going to be able to launch it twice. So.
It's true.
Yeah, we have Steve Glines has joined us, and I don't think he's got video. But how are you doing, Steve? Maybe he doesn't have audio either. Anyway, Laura, do you should we get started on our topic today? And
sure,
anyone else can chime in. I mean, I'm sort of a publishing coach and a book coach in a way because I sort of approach my dealings with authors that way. I say, do you want to learn this business? Do you want to kind of come along while we explore it? And I don't know how. I don't have all the answers. I kind of I feel like the more good brains in the mix, the better. So we have an arrangement where we share the income from the book. But I think identifying the areas where you need help is the best. And I think one of mine is not creating a publishing schedule, timeline for the book, and just kind of grabbing things out willy-nilly as I think they need to be done. So what of Kitty and Larry, do you have tips on how to, what is a publishing coach or a book coach, and how to go about finding one?
Well, if you want me to start, you have to find someone you can work with for a start. There are plenty of us all over. Recommendations. I get most of mine from recommendations. Just people, I've done one for so-and-so, he calls so-and-so, who calls so-and-so, and so forth, all the way down the line. And I've done them for people in France, and all over the United States with some of my books. And it's just because Marcia connected me to Louise, who connected me to Janice, who connected me to so-and-so. We already have kind of a connection to work from. And it's, if you're I'm very flexible. I'll work on something. If somebody wants a change, I'll do it and send it out right away and get it done. So we work back and forth very quickly, and sometimes it's just, for example, this fellow down in Staten Island, Bob Williams, would come to the conference. I helped him set up his business, and he loves to just do all kinds of books. He just thinks that's the greatest thing. And we did a success book in a couple of, I guess it was about a month and a half, because he was dealing with 20 other people. And that's what took the time.
Did he publish that under his own imprint?
Yes,
or
Showtime Books.
So it's not a distinction.
And he's got about 3 more in the works. He's just prolific. He's really good. And others, you know, I was asked to do a book cover for somebody, and it took a year and a half because it was a bunch of coaches, and they took their time about deciding what picture they wanted to use on the cover. So it can go anywhere from literally Rose's book to in 3 hours to God knows how long. But what I try and do when I set up a contract, I have a very basic contract, and it just says, hey, you know, you own the book. I'll do whatever you need, and this is how we'll do it. If you've got a timeline you want it done by, then if you cooperate with me, we'll get it done.
Yeah, and I think one mistake people make, I ran into this with someone over the weekend at a Highland dancing competition. She's going to do a book on how to photograph dance and sports events, and she's, you know, I said, well, make sure you get your own ISBN number, and you know, so you own it, like you said, and she said, well, how do you do that? And so I'm going to help her, kind of guide her through that. But you know, I think that's one of the main things. You don't give away the family jewels. You know, it's just
Right.
own that ISBN number is like your Social Security number for your book. So.
It is. It's your company. You're the publisher of record, and I keep telling people that. And I told Anne when we did the Toxic Staple, I said, this is your information. There's no way I can PR a gluten book like you can. So
Yeah.
you're the one who has to do this. You set up your own company. Therefore, you handle all the finances. In Louise's case, she didn't want to deal with that at all. And the same with Stephen with this book. They just don't want to deal with it. They just want to have the book out and done. And the one I did in France, Taking Root in Provence, she's got an American bank account, but there's no way she could have handled the business, and she wanted me to publish the book. It's actually my bestseller.
Is that here on your catalog? Oh, this one.
Under catalog, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Keep going down, you'll see more on it.
Oh, I see. I love your site. This is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I just did it last night.
Is it WordPress or?
No, it's Adobe Muse.
Muse. Oh, the deadly Muse.
No, it's really cool because if you know InDesign and Photoshop, you can use Muse, and it just does all the HTML and stuff for you. It's a lot faster than doing. I've done Dreamweaver and WordPress and all that nonsense, and this one's just so much easier to use.
Well, Muse I might be able to do it more. Every time I come back to it, I'm a little bit better, but yeah, I'm doing WordPress now for now. But
oh, that's so complex in comparison. But it's, if you're going to be shepherding someone, you literally have to. In Bob's case and in Anne's case, I did all the work, and I just bill them for the hours that I work and any costs that are incurred. And that's
Let me ask a question. Do you think that more people need to understand the value of having a publishing coach? Because I know of a particular example I saw recently of somebody who put out a book or is trying to put out a book thinking that self-publishing was easy peasy, and they're finding out that it's not. So it just seems to me that sometimes there's a problem understanding the value of publishing coaches or agents or anything like that.
They're vital if you haven't a clue.
Yeah, Matthew Hirschler's waiting in the wings here. I don't know if he wants to join. He's welcome to, but says waiting till it's ready sounds like great advice. He's writing a book on constitutional democracy, and I think it'll be fabulous once it comes out. But maybe
that's what Stephen
sounds a little bit like something you might publish by distinction.
That's what Stephen's book is about, is going back to how the Constitution was actually written, because there's so many people trying to abuse it right now.
Yeah, well,
and they're wrong. It was not written that way. It was written with these guys in mind that these things could happen.
Yeah, I'm going to try and pick it up. I love that. I'm getting more into that topic since Matthew's been around. He's been talking about it, and he's just rabid about this topic. So, which is good. It's a good quality. You've got to express your passion.
Yeah, it's sick.
Steve Glines, are you there?
I don't think he is. No.
Okay, well, we love you anyway, Steve.
So what should a new writer, when they're looking for a publishing coach, what should they look for?
Well, Kitty mentioned something about
experience.
Someone you can work with.
Yeah, someone you can get along with and trust, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of money between them.
Right.
And someone who's got experience doing it. I've been in publishing. I started with Random House in 1990. I did 5 books for them, 6 books for them, 5 of which I ended up designing the interiors.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because it's half the price of having them do it. So my editor said, "You do it. Here's a file."
So someone you can get along with, maybe make sure you meet them either by Hangout or Skype or something like that. And
or just a phone call. Pick it up and call.
yeah, phone call, exactly. And
Hi, Matthew.
the other thing is getting recommendations from other people. I mean, IPNI as an organization is developing a vendor. Matthew, I smoked you out. We're developing a vendor page where vendors like book coaches will be able to offer discounts. Matthew, you have another window open, and I'm going to mute you because you need to shut that window down. We're getting double audio.
Yeah, once you shut it down, just unmute yourself.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, what was I saying? So someone you can get a recommendation, meet with them online, in person, or call them by phone. Check out their profiles on different social media, or you know, just if you get a gut sense of them from other people and from meeting them, then you can make sure you have a contract or a written agreement.
Right.
If they're more comfortable with a more detailed one.
Okay, now.
Go ahead. Are you ready, Mr. Hirschler?
Just to say my ears were burning, thank you, in a nice way.
Well, welcome. And we are talking about publishing coaches. Are you planning on getting one, or do you feel like you need one?
I'm getting something else coming through. Is that my...
Probably should shut down every window except this one.
Do I have another window open? Why am I hearing something else going on?
I don't know. I'm going to mute you because we want to move on with the conversation. But when you get it figured out, we'll be back to you. Larry, did you have any other thoughts about how to find a good publishing coach?
You know, like any service professional, you know, like what Kitty said about, I think trust is going to be huge. I think, you know, it's interesting, like I don't think I've heard the phrase publishing coach until this morning, or, you know, until you invited me to this. But it's when I think back on my career, like when I was an editor years ago, I always took a consultative, educational style in how I worked with authors and customers, for that matter.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so it's not a concept that's unfamiliar to me, but I've also done a lot of consulting in other contexts. Like I used to do SEO consulting about 15 years ago, and you know, it's you know, for me, like part of the reason I'm in publishing is that I don't want to do services delivery. so part of me is like becoming a publishing coach. I'd rather be a publisher than a publishing coach.
Yes.
You know, if that makes sense, because you can only sell your coaching services once. You can sell your book a gazillion times, hopefully.
Yes.
So that's probably why I haven't given it that much thought, because I do, like, my day job now is I do massage therapy, and that's how I'm paying the bills while I write this book.
Mm-hmm.
And I love doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it. But it's not, you know, just in terms of a long-term financial strategy, one-off services delivery is tough. But that said, I've done enough of it to know that it can also be quite lucrative, and it can be the pathway to more publications and speaking gigs and all kinds of stuff like that.
And developing relationships with authors and
exactly
people in the publishing industry.
Yeah. Well, it'd be part of, like, I'm assuming everybody here knows Michael Hyatt's platform, you know, stuff, and it's just, you know, part of that whole platform, you know, would be your consulting services. So I think if you're thinking about it from a person who wants to be a coach perspective, that's one way to look at it. But as a way to, but if you're looking for a coach, you know, to think about, well, like all those things that Kitty was saying, like trustworthiness, experience, just do they know what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about the platform building. We talk about that a lot in the office hours because a lot of authors they're just getting it, or they don't get it yet. And, you know, just saying I've got a book out there.
Well, I think that's where the publishing coach guidance would be really helpful, is avoiding expensive mistakes like launching too early, or back to the ISBN thing, not having your own ISBN, so then later on, let's say if your book is for some reason becomes a really valuable resource at that time and you want to republish it, you have trouble because they maybe went out of business or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of mistakes that a publishing coach could help you avoid that you may not realize. I just think it's a learning curve. If you're not willing to take that big learning curve to learn all the ins and outs yourself, find somebody who already knows it.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that if you're going to get a coach and they suggest strongly that you do something, listen to them. Please. With the book that came out last year, I kept pounding the author to get the book out in May. We could have done it in May when the height of her topic was big. It was absolutely huge. And what happened? By the time we got it, I finally just kicked her butt and said, look, it's going out now. And that was September 30th. The subject was passed. People were saying, oh, no, that's not true. This is just a load of baloney. So she wonders why the book doesn't sell. I can't imagine. We could have had it. We could have blasted it at the time and sold thousands and thousands of copies.
Yeah, so those things, if you don't necessarily think about them, but you have to, in developing your publishing timeline, you have to think, is it going to be Christmas? Is it going to be...
Absolutely.
And if you're not, like Laura has been consulting with me on time management, and she's developed a timeline for me, which I'm getting around to looking at. But it's like just not in my nature to really start with, put the end goal out so far.
Yeah.
Deadlines work.
It's genre.
Yeah,
if you wanted to be on the boat with books about zombies, you're kind of running into too late for you right now. I mean, you have to pay attention to whatever the book's subject matter is, and if it's something that's hot right now, it needs to get out now, not a year and a half from now.
Yeah, well, I'd be a zombie by the time I got a book about zombies.
That's
Sorry,
exactly what's motivating me to finish my manuscript right now. Is the media commotion about sitting disease is so strong right now that I'm like, oh damn, I got to get out there, because I'm sure there's dozens of other books in progress, and if I can get out there, at least be one of the first. There's a couple already on Amazon, but surprisingly little to this point. But yeah, timing seems really crucial to me right now.
Yeah, timing is everything.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking with platform building a few weeks ago, and it just, the necessity to do it, to think, kind of be able to co-process a little bit is helpful, because if you're not building your platform while your book is getting ready, you're not going to be ready to launch it right away. So I don't know how you handle that, Larry, and I know you got your head down, but
no, I've thought a lot about that, and I've got the same advice from a lot of different really smart people. They're like, don't do anything until you have 2,000 Twitter followers or X number of Facebook followers, and these are super smart people like T.A. McCann and like brilliant people, and I took their advice to heart and tried that, and I was like, no, all of this is distracting. It's for me anyway, for the way I'm operating as a solopreneur, a solo infopreneur.
Yeah.
I've got limited bandwidth, and I'm really a dual career professional as well. So I just made the strategic decision to just put my head down and finish the damn book.
Yeah.
And then, but because for me, that's the foundation of my platform. It's really, in one sense, I hope to sell a bunch of it, and I intend to, but it's really the intellectual calling card that I can flop down on people's desks when I talk about.
And you'll go and give a presentation, and you'll have the book, and yeah.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
It's a different type of approach.
Yeah, so it's not like, I mean, there's a lot of urgency just around the topic right now, but in terms of my building my platform, it's like, and that was the other thing, I just kept coming back to like, well, people don't really get what I'm up to. I can talk all I want and blog all I want, but it's little snippets. Like this book will be a solid intellectual foundation for what I believe and what I do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
but
good
it sounds
point.
like you have a clear intent, which is also a
Yeah,
good
but it sounds like you have a clear intent,
which is also a good place when you're deciding whether
Yeah.
you're going to hire a publishing coach or not, or is what your intention is. I mean,
And
if
you can hire a publishing coach for just a short period of time.
right, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I may call on you people.
Mhm.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Tortoise made a very good point in the comment. She said that you might want to look at books that potential coaches worked on and find out what their role has been, which is a very good.
Very good point. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the first advice I always give when people ask, like, hey, I got this book. What do I do with it? And I say, go look at the acknowledgments of books at the store, at the bookstore that look like what you want to write. Find the agents, the editors, and the same thing could apply here. Find the consultants who help people. They'll get thanked somewhere.
Yeah. So let's go over the sort of checklist. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Identify the things you want to work on and don't want to work on in the book process. What else, Laura? Or Kitty?
Your intention. Know what your intention is. What type of publishing you're looking for. Are you looking for a wide range publishing, or to a particular niche, or is it a vanity type book? What's your intention?
Be able to tell that to your potential coach.
So what's the goal?
What's the goal? And what do you mean by that, Kitty?
What do you want the book to accomplish? Do you want to, as in Toxic Staple, just get the word out? Do you want to make a difference in this world? Do you just want to have it for family?
Hand it out at conferences. Yeah.
You want to sell it yourself, that kind of stuff. There are a lot of variations on that. How much money do you want to spend? Do you have a budget?
Exactly.
What's your budget?
Yeah, that's a very good
point. The whole traditional route, or do you want to go the POD route and save yourself some possibly furniture building boxes?
Yeah, like in your basement. Yeah. And so get recommendations. Maybe I think joining an organization like IPNI or one of the other affiliates of IBPA is a really good idea, because you can get a lot of free advice that way. And get some support. You can go into the member directories. We're going to be offering these vendor discounts, so we'll have publishing coaches and designers and all sorts of services where you can get a discount. And if that's important in the startup phase, especially, it's going to help.
You also want to know who's going to control the money.
Who's got control of the
You want
money?
to be totally control of your finances, and you're capable of doing it. Be your own publishing company. If you really just want to kind of hand it off and let someone else deal with it because you're too busy doing something else or whatever, and someone else wants to publish it, fine. But you have to understand that there are these issues with the royalties and so forth, and you need to work these things out and decide whether you're going to be your business or not.
Yeah. And then detail it to the agreement with the coach to the extent that you feel comfortable. If it more, it could be a verbal agreement if you're really comfortable with them, or you could be. I'd recommend a contract, but it depends on how long it's going to go, for what time period it's going to.
You want a contract that spells out who pays for what, how much you're paying per hour for this, and who's controlling what.
Yeah, because a publishing coach really, or a book coach, will go over a span of disciplines, not just like hiring a designer or something like that. It will be.
Right, and you want someone who also knows other contacts for the things that they don't specialize in. I'm really not great at doing my own PR. I hire Paul Crouppen to do it, and he's very effective. Thank you very much.
That's a Midwest book review person, or?
No, direct contact PR.
Okay.
He's up in Washington State.
Oh, cool.
Larry.
I just
He's outside of Seattle.
Pardon me?
He's outside of Seattle.
I just did a search for and just found him, so thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, direct contact PR. Paul's terrific. He really is.
Direct contact PR. We'll put that in the comments as well.
.com. Yeah, direct.
Yeah. Does anybody have a final comment before we close up in 1 minute, and we'll actually be ending on time? Matthew, are you?
I'm just glad to be here. My ears were burning, thank you. I had 2 windows open or something, and that's why it was so complicated before. I have too much to say. So
yeah.
but maybe I can write it down. We can have a conversation about it. I joined a group yesterday called Valley Share, and it's actually a national group, I think, and there's little locations
Valley
all over
Share?
the place. And
Valley
Share, it's like you trade an hour of time for this for an hour of time of that. And there are people who say, "Oh, I'll help you with your website. Oh, I do editing," and some people are local, and then there's other towns that do this. And until I get to the Kickstarter, through the Kickstarter campaign, I'm not going to have a budget that I'm very clear on. And
so you're doing a Kickstarter for your book?
Yeah, and I was hoping to get that together in a really good way, and I don't feel like I can do that until I have all kinds of issues. I would love to talk with you all about them, but I don't know what the venue is for that.
Well, we'll have a potpourri session of indie office hours, and people can just come and talk about whatever they want to.
I can be very clear. I have the list. I'm really, I'm in the boiler. It's like I'm realizing what my problems are.
Good for you. Well, we'll have one around that
process.
list, and I'm sure it will relate to a lot of different people. But anyone else wants to say a final word, you're welcome to. Kitty, good luck with your launch.
Whatever you do, be professional.
Good advice. Yep. Good advice. Yep. And I think, too, the point that you made earlier, Charlotte, is very important, and we keep saying this over and over. Really, really understand your strengths and weaknesses. If you want to put out a great product, you have to understand that. Know what you can and cannot do, because if you can't do something, give it to somebody who knows he can. And that Valley Share program sounds like an interesting way to do that. If you can't do your cover design, don't do it. Find somebody to do it, because that's going to affect your book sales tremendously. So why do that to yourself?
Right.
Well, listen, thank you all for coming, Larry. Good luck, Matthew. Someone's coming to get someone.
I know, it's outside. Can't do it.
Kitty's finally paying the piper here.
No, that was me. That was me.
All right, thank you all. We'll see you next Tuesday at noon, and
Thanks,
we'll have. What is our topic next Tuesday? It's my show, and
I don't have that page open right now.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, we'll see you then. It'll be fabulous. See you.
Yes, it will.